Thank you, Ksenija, for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for having me.
You are the incoming chair of the Plant Breeding Coordinating Committee.
Yes.
Before we talk about that, I'd like to talk a bit about your background. You're a peach breeder at Clemson University in South Carolina.
Yes.
Where are you originally from, and how did you get to South Carolina breeding peaches? Can you trace that journey for me a little bit?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. I started as a plant or fruit breeder in Serbia and came to US as a postdoc in Illinois to learn more about the molecular tools to apply into the breeding. And after several years staying into the US, I decided to stay, and then eventually the opening happened in Clemson University as a breeding program. I always liked working with the fruits, and I applied and ended up there. What I liked about being a fruit tree breeder is my ability to actually play with the plants and create some new diversity. And so I just used some tools that I learned in my postdoctoral studies at University of Illinois to actually improve my position as a breeder. But I always wanted to be a breeder that actually works outside in the field. That's where my passion is.
We're here in Guelph, Ontario for the National Association of Plant Breeders annual meeting, and the theme this year is training the next generation of plant breeders. As you network here with young plant breeders, the next generation of plant breeders, what are some unique challenges and opportunities that peach breeding has given you that you like to tell them about as you sort of guide them into the futures of their own careers?
But the main point for me is actually application. Not many young students understand that all of the tools and techniques that they learn as doing the degrees at the universities are actually something that you want to apply. You want to create something. That's actually what my passion is about. So most of our education was geared sort of towards educating them in having the skills, but real world is very often different. And so you have to be able to apply those skills and be patient, because especially tree fruit breeding is a time consuming, and you have to envision the goals and results maybe 10-15 years ahead of time. And so for the young person thinking about doing the plant breeding, passion for the job is must, because you have to stay in and out for years, risking that maybe there will be no results, or more often than not that you would have failures that will teach you which direction to go. Patience for the job, and then being willing to be visionary, because more than often you have to think ahead of industry, ahead of consumers. What is it that they might like? So you create that variability, because it takes that long time for it to be delivered to the market.
The Plant Breeding Coordinating Committee, what is it, and what is its function in promoting plant breeding and making this industry a better one? Plant
Breeding Coordinating Committee is a multi-state coordinating committee which was formed together between the USDA and state agricultural experimental stations of land-grant universities. The reason for forming that coordinating committee was that plant breeders were concerned that in the US there was not much awareness of the importance of plant breeding for US economy. So we wanted to have a way of influencing the funding agencies, or directing the way the funding goes, and to promote the plant breeding. PBCC's unique position is that it's a project. It's not the professional society such as NAPB is. And in that sense, we have a 5-year project. We have goals that we need to work on and deliver. And one of the unique things about the Plant Breeding Coordinating Committee is that we have a direct link with the USDA, so we can be asked. USDA has some restrictions about asking people for input. So for the publicly asking, they have to provide open forums to ask for opinions. Well, with us, they can directly ask us for opinions on any aspects of the plant breeding. The importance is we all take food for granted. We go to the stores, we buy them, we eat them, and we don't put much thought how that variety was developed. And funding is a long-term endeavor with the plant breeding, and that's additional stress on breeders to ensure that you will have a support throughout the years, because lack of funding for 1 year can devastate the 50 or 60 years of the progress, because if you lose the plants, that stops everything. And that's why we were so concerned that the national level of awareness was not where it should be, so the support would be there. That goes also for educating young people to actually go into the profession of plant breeders. And so I think NAPB and the PBCC together are doing actually a great job of making the awareness present in the everyday lives, and especially among the students, among the young generations that will be replacing many breeders as we come in next following years.
Well, that's a great tie-in to this year's meeting, training the
Yes.
next generation of plant breeders.
Yes.
What are your plans as incoming chair of the PBCC? What's your overall vision?
As an incoming chair, I have a kind of easy and hard job, because I'm right in the middle of the project. This is the end of the 3rd year of the project, so there are 2 more years, and so as a chair, I will guide this coordinating committee for 1 year. We actually did a great progress so far. We conducted certain surveys to estimate the plant breeding capacities in the US. We explored the state of the germplasm collections in the US. We did some intellectual property rights investigations and the white paper. So there's lots that Plant Breeding Coordinating Committee achieved already. We still have some objectives that we need to work on, but my overall goal is actually to keep the good momentum going and to engage more representatives in activities. One of the things for the Plant Breeding Coordinating Committee is that the members are actually representatives of the states of the agricultural experimental stations. So they are appointed, and so we actually have 44 members from 44 different states of the United States. Every state that has a breeding program. So that gives you the power to actually pull all that brain power and move agendas forward and actually have an effect in each individual state.
Well, having that people power is huge.
Yes.
Ending on a fun note, what's your favorite part of being a fruit breeder, specifically a peach breeder?
That's a hard question. The fun thing is actually when you see something that you created, and then it actually is the great pleasure to others. Recently, I was evaluating my crosses that I made in 2015, and walking through the field, and after tasting plenty of bad acidic peaches, I suddenly found one that was a perfect flavor. And I was first thinking, oh no, that's because all of these bad ones, now even the mediocre one would probably feel like it's a great one. And then I collected the fruit that I had on the tree and brought it in the lab. Everybody loved it. So that's like the highlight of your day, or maybe a year, or maybe a life, when you find that one unique, great combination of traits, and you address the concerns of the industry, and you can actually help impact what's going on with the stakeholders' lives and the consumers later on. I think every breeder strives for having that impact that something that will live after us, and somebody that continues the program after you're gone will actually build upon that success and momentum.
Well, there's a lot of breeders who don't get to eat what they breed out in the field. It's just not possible. So.
Yes, I often don't think about that, but really that's sometimes a burden, more often a funny thing, that actually when you find something that's really great tasting and you like it, you bring it and then you expose your students that work with you or co-workers or collaborators, and then you see that what you like might not be what they like. So you then experience that there are differences between the consumer's perception of what they like, what's sweet for them, what's not, what's acceptable, and that opens them more avenues for you to actually tailor kind of breed things that different groups of consumers would like, which is all fun.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.